A grieving mother in Judge Caprio's courtroom. Some courtroom moments are about law. Others are about rules. But once in a lifetime, a moment happens that reminds the world what justice is truly meant to be. This was one of those moments. Andrea Rogers walked into Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom facing tickets totaling nearly $400. On paper, it looked like a routine case. Parking violations, unpaid fines, nothing unusual. But the courtroom had no idea that Andrea Rogers was carrying something far heavier than any citation. She was carrying grief. Andrea approached the podium quietly. Her shoulders were tense. Her hands trembled slightly as she clutched her paperwork. She didn't look like someone trying to make excuses. She looked like someone just trying to survive. Judge Caprio glanced at the file and began as he always did, calm, professional, fair. "Ms. Rogers," he said gently, "you have several tickets here. Can you tell me what happened?" Andrea opened her mouth to speak, and then she stopped. Her voice cracked. Tears welled up in her eyes. The courtroom grew still. Andrea tried again, but the words wouldn't come. She lowered her head, overwhelmed by emotion she had been holding back for far too long. Judge Caprio noticed immediately. He leaned forward, his tone softening. "Take your time," he said. "There's no rush." Andrea took a breath, then another, and finally the truth came out. She explained that the tickets weren't the result of carelessness or disrespect for the law. They happened during the worst period of her life. Andrea told the court that her son had passed away, suddenly, painfully, and everything after that became a blur. She had been dealing with eviction notices, paperwork, court dates, and funeral arrangements, all while trying to manage her son's affairs. Some days she didn't even know where she was parking. She was just trying to get through each day. As she spoke, tears streamed down her face. "I was just trying to handle everything," she said quietly. "I wasn't thinking about tickets. I was thinking about my son." The courtroom was silent. No murmurs, no whispers. Judge Caprio didn't interrupt her. He let her speak. When she finished, he sat back for a moment, absorbing her words. Then he spoke. "Ms. Rogers," he said, "I'm very sorry for your loss." His voice carried genuine empathy, not rehearsed, not forced, just human. He looked down at the fines again. $400 is a lot of money, he said, especially when someone is already going through so much. Judge Caprio paused. Then he made his first decision. "I'm going to reduce these fines," he said. "Instead of $400, I'm going to make it $50." A wave of relief washed over Andrea's face. She nodded gratefully. But then she spoke again, and what she said changed everything. "Your Honor," Andrea said softly, "if I pay $50, I'll only have $5 left." The courtroom froze. $5. That was all she had to her name. Judge Caprio looked up sharply. $5? He repeated. Andrea nodded. She wasn't exaggerating. She wasn't bargaining. She was simply being honest. Judge Caprio leaned back in his chair. For a moment, he didn't speak. Then he shook his head gently. "No," he said, "that's not right." He looked directly at Andrea. "Ms. Rogers, justice is not supposed to leave someone with nothing." Then, without hesitation, he changed his ruling on the spot. "I'm dismissing all of your tickets." The courtroom reacted instantly. Gasps, surprise, emotion. Andrea looked up in disbelief. "Your fines are dismissed," Judge Caprio said clearly. "You don't owe this court anything." Andrea broke down. She covered her face, overwhelmed, not just by relief, but by something she hadn't felt in a long time: kindness. Judge Caprio wasn't finished. He spoke gently, like a father, like a grandfather. "I want you to take care of yourself," he told her, "and I hope things get better for you." Andrea thanked him through tears. The bailiff handed her tissues. People in the courtroom wiped their eyes. This wasn't about tickets anymore. It was about compassion. That moment didn't stay inside the courtroom. The footage spread across the country. Millions watched as a judge chose empathy over punishment. People who had never watched a court case before suddenly paid attention, not because of drama, but because of humanity. Judge Caprio became known nationwide, not as a harsh enforcer of rules, but as a reminder of what justice should look like when it remembers the people behind the paperwork. Andrea Rogers walked into court expecting another burden. She walked out with dignity intact and $5 still in her pocket. For Judge Caprio, it was just another day of doing what he believed was right. But for Andrea, it was the day someone finally saw her pain and chose kindness. And for the rest of the world, it was proof that sometimes the most powerful verdict isn't written in law books, it's written in compassion.